I created this search box in Excel in less than 5 minutes. One of the biggest complaints people have about Excel is that it's hard to use. That's why one of my goals is to create the most user-friendly spreadsheets possible. I want to fly through it. I want each task to be seamless and easy and breezy. And I want other people on my team to have the same experience. So if you have a large data set that's difficult to navigate, a search box may be the perfect upgrade to make it super easy for people to view the data that they need. I call these upgrades power-ups. In this video, you'll learn exactly how to make this search box in Excel. And I have a few upgrades to show you that can help make your spreadsheet really delightful to use. Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I teach Excel users how to create spreadsheets they can be proud of. If you use Excel in any capacity, you're in the right place. Check out the description for a link to my new free training, The Spreadsheet Tune-Up. In 5 short videos, I'll teach you the first steps that can help you to optimize any spreadsheet you have. This is the data set that we're going to be working with. It's pretty large. It has about 2,000 rows. It has a list of all the schools in Missouri with some of their ID numbers, the districts that they are in, and a couple of other district ID numbers. And it's very large. So this is a really good candidate for creating a search box because that will make it easy to find exactly the school or the district that you are looking for. In order to get this data be more accessible to Excel, we're going to convert it into an Excel table. Any data that is organized in rows and columns should be formatted as an Excel table, in my opinion. In order to do that, we're going to go to the Insert tab and then click this button, Table. And this pop-up is asking whether your table has headers. A header row is just the column labels. So my data does have column labels, so I'm going to click OK. And you can see that top row is now the header row. And the great thing about tables is that it automatically formats them, and you can change the style to be whatever you like here. You can also, and I always recommend this, you have to give your table a meaningful name. So it's automatically named with up here in the properties group. It's automatically named just table with a number. But that's not descriptive. You can't look at that name and know what that data is. So instead, I'm going to call my table schools. So now this table is known to Excel as schools. And when we reference our data later, we can use that name, and we can also use the column headers to reference this data. Okay, so now we have a table. Let's go to a new tab or a new sheet and actually create this search box. The first step is to use a shape. So I'm going to go Insert Shape and make something that looks just like a search bar. Okay, I'm going to do it about 4 columns in width. It's just approximate. Change it to white. And then I'm going to add another shape, but this time it's going to be an icon. And I'm going to find the search icon, which is a magnifying glass. And I'm just going to type the word search. If you didn't know, this is a really great library of icons here. And they are completely editable, so you can change the color, the size, anything like that. All right, now I'm going to group these two together by coming up here to this group button. Okay, now these are a group. This is just the background. This has no functionality. It's just like the image of the shape of the search box. So now to give it an actual function, we're going to go to the Developer tab. If you don't have the Developer tab accessible, you can easily add that by right-clicking anywhere on the ribbon and then clicking Customize the ribbon. And you'll see here in these list of main tabs, Developer might not be checked like this. You just have to check Developer and then click OK. Now Developer should be accessible to you. So go over here to the controls, and we're going to insert a new control, an ActiveX control, in fact, and it's called Text Box, ActiveX control. And you can see there's a little crosshair, so we're just going to draw a shape in here. And now we have a text box. It doesn't look super great because you can tell that the background is different. So we're going to change the properties here. So go up here to the controls and click the properties. And now these are the properties for this text box that we just drew. The first thing that we need to do is go down to Special Effect and change this to the first one, which is Special Effect Flat. and you can see that that just removed the borders so that you can't tell that it's different from the shape that we are using. And then the next thing that we need to do is add a linked cell. So go down to the linked cell property and type in the address of a cell that is behind this search box. I'm going to choose B2 because that's where I'm going to put it. And I'll explain what that does soon. All right, now we need to turn off design mode, because when you start, if you try to double click on this, it will open up Excel VBA. So up here in controls, turn off the design mode. Now you can see that when you click on this, you can start typing in a search. You can start typing something in. And let's see what happens. So I just typed something in there. Look what happened. It put that exact text into cell B2. That's what I meant. That's why we linked this cell, because now we can use the value that we're typing into the search box in a formula. Now that the search box is created, we're going to be creating a staging area or a preview of the results of the search. So before I do that though, I'm going to select my search box and update the properties. So I'm going to go down to size and properties, and then over here, click don't move or size with cells. I've learned if you try and change the column widths when that property is not changed, it will stretch the box, and I don't like that. So I'm going back here to my source data. I'm going to select the headers and copy them, and then go back here and paste, but not just paste. I'm going to go to the paste special and choose keep source column widths, and now the column widths will match the actual data. So now we're ready for the formula. It's a nested formula, so there's going to be several functions, and I'm going to talk you through it. The first one is filter. That will return the data, but not all the data. It's only some of the rows based on a criteria that we're going to specify. So the first argument is array, and that will be our source data. Remember, we named that table schools. So that's going to be the whole argument. Is just the name of that source data table. Then we're going to, for the next argument, which is include, we're going to put two functions together. The first one is number and open parentheses, and then right after that, search and open parentheses. Now we're going to, the find text is what are we searching for? Remember, anything that we put into this box will be put into cell B2. So that's what we want that's what we want to find, whatever is in cell B2. And then we'll put a comma, and within text what? Where are we searching for this? Typically, you'll probably be searching for whatever's in the first column of your table. So that would be in the schools table, and then you can open square brackets. We'll bring up this list of the columns, and I'm choosing school name. So you're putting the name of the column where you want to search. And then close that search function, close the isNumber function, comma, and the last argument of this function is, or this formula is, what do we do if the filter returns nothing? And I'm going to put in double quotes, no schools found, and then close parentheses, and there we are. Since we have nothing in the search box, it's returning all of the rows, but I'm just going to start typing in here, and you can see that it searches through the school name, and it immediately gives you all the matches. It's very dynamic, very fast. And the basic functionality of the search box is all done. Now let's add a couple of upgrades or power-ups that will make this really cool. The first one is that we want to add grid lines to this table, but the problem, you can't just select and then add the grid lines manually, and that's because when you change what's searched, we want the grid lines to be dynamic and to change with that. So to do that, we're going to be implementing conditional formatting. Select all of the data and then use Control Shift down arrow to just select all the rows underneath it, and that's what we're going to apply the conditional formatting to. Then go to conditional formatting and new rule. When this opens, go down to format only cells that contain, and then in this drop down, format only cells with no blanks. That's the only option that you need. And then click on this format button, and we're going to format the border to have an outline. And click OK, OK. And now we should see a border. Yes, we see grid lines for only what's visible. And I'm going to change this so you can see that the grid lines are dynamic. So it extends only to the results of the search. The next upgrade is, what if you wanted to search multiple columns? What if you wanted to search the school name column and the district name column, for example? This is actually a pretty easy thing to do. We just have to edit this formula. So the first thing is, this is going to be, it's going to be a complicated update. So I am extending this formula box, and then I'm going to add some space in here. So right before is number, I'm going to hold Alt Enter, and yeah, just add some space here. So I've isolated the is number and the search functions together, and I'm going to copy that, Alt Enter to a new line, and then type in a plus sign, paste. So now I have the exact same function 2 times, and it's separated by the plus sign. So now the second one, I'm going to change that to district name. And you could do this as many times as you need to for whatever columns you want to search. And then click Enter. So now I can search through the district or the school name column. So it will return results where either one of these match the search term. And you may notice that I'm not typing uppercase. That's because this is case insensitive. So it doesn't matter what the case is. It also doesn't matter, it also does not matter whether you start typing in the middle. So you can see I just LLEN and Allen returned. So it's, you don't have to start typing at the beginning of the word. So it does like partial matches. The very last upgrade I want to show you is, what if you don't want to keep all of these columns from the source data? I think that the school type and the district type columns don't really help me, so I'm going to remove those. In order to do that, we need to know what number the columns are that we want to keep. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I want to remove, or I want to exclude 2 and 6. Okay, so I'll remember that. Now in my formula, I'm going to add a formula to wrap around this filter. So I'm adding a new one, and I'm going to go to another line again just to keep things super clear. And it's called choose calls. Open parentheses. And now the first argument is this whole thing that we've already created. And then the second argument is just a list of the columns that we want to keep, separated by comma. So I'm going to do 1, and then we're skipping 2, 3, 4, 5, skipping 6, 7, 8, and then close parentheses. Okay, now we have to delete these headers. So I'm going to delete and then shift cells left. District type also, delete, shift cells left. Okay, now I just have to resize these because we've now restricted what's being returned to only these columns. So you can really customize the output so that it only has exactly what you need. It's as simple as that. Let me know in the comments if you plan to add a search box to any of your spreadsheets.